Can we all agree that the premise that the better we all get at networking, the better all of our networking will be is true? If we can agree to that, the better all our networking will be if we get better at it, then we can keep moving forward. And I'm excited about it. So let me hit you with this. I've got two very distinct definitions of networking. Definition number one is leveraging the relationships you have to create the relationships you need. Right? It's very simple. You know a bunch of people, you probably need to know some more people, and some of the people you already know the people you need to meet. So ask them for introductions and get really good at making introductions. And we'll cover that latter part right now. Definition number two is three simple words. When I started Motor City Connect back in 2006, we broke it down into meet, understand, and connect. Meet. If you're not meeting new people and taking the time to meet with and stay in contact with the people you already know, you're not networking. Two, understand. If you're not taking the time to understand the needs of these new people while making sure they understand what your needs are too, you're not going to be effectively networking. And three, connect. Connect's so important that it's got three different versions of it. So one, you and I have to make some form of connection where I care about your success and you care about my success. Otherwise, we're probably not going to network very well. Two, from a universal perspective, we have to understand that we are all already connected, and that makes it so much easier to be of service to help other people. And three, if you're not making the time to connect people, literally make those introductions that I just spoke about a moment ago, you're not gonna be networking very well. Listen, networking is all about this concept called relationship capital. I want you to think about relationship capital the same way you think about other capital, how you think about your money, right? If you're trying to go in and make withdrawals to your bank account before making deposits into your bank account, how's that going to work out for you? They're going to be like, yo, get out of here. I don't care if you wear a mask or not. It's not going to work. So what we have to do is we have to make those deposits. The way we make those deposits is we connect people to the folks that we know they need to know. Get in the habit of doing that early, get in the habit of doing it often, and please, simply stated, get in the habit of doing it, because the more you do, the more you deposit into that relationship capital account, the more you have the opportunity to withdraw from the relationship capital account. If you stick around and we do the Zoom thing in a little bit, remind me, and I'll talk a little bit about the law of reciprocity and the law of generosity. And those things are what really make networking hum. And we can cover that later. All right. So here's rule number one. The most important thing that I can tell you about networking, and I know it's rule number one and we're 2 minutes into it, but hey, I'm like that. What can I tell you? First thing you need to do is you have to be absolutely present. Networking happens in real time. It moves quickly. The opportunity to be of service, the opportunity to make an introduction happens. And if you're staring at your phone or paying attention to somebody over there in the corner, or if we're networking and doing virtual Zoom, you got your email open and you're doing other stuff, you're gonna miss the opportunity. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when I was talking about networking, I told you rule number one is you have to show up. Well, in 2020, it's not enough to just show up. You have to be present. I don't care if your body's there. Is your mind there? Is your entire person there? That's what I mean by showing up. You got to be present. Big thing. All right, moving on from that. One of the things I talk about all the time is this idea that we have to know what we have to offer. Networking is give and take. You've probably all heard the phrase givers gain or givers get, depending on which school of networking you went to. And it's a true story. Here's the thing, if it's about giving, then we better take some sort of stock on what we have to offer. So let me give you some ideas. 1, you have time. 2, you have energy. 3, you have introductions to make from your own network. 4, you've got knowledge and wisdom. 5, you've got possibly capital that you can give to people or whatever other resources they have, right? You've got your unique experience, and you can bring that to the table at any given time. So think from your perspective, what are the things that are easiest for you to give? Because again, if givers gain, then you better start giving. So think about, what do you have to offer? Make a list and be in the practice of giving something to someone on a daily basis. The more we're in the habit of giving, I promise you, the more we'll be in the habit of receiving. So that was one side. On the flip side, know what you're trying to get. Listen, before you go network, before you show up at an event, before you walk into the AGC Egan meeting or whatever the chapters or groups that you go to, the events, this is the right word, whatever the event is that you go to, what's your goal? What's your desired outcome? What do you want to happen? And get super singularly focused on it, because so much happens, right? We all need so many different things that we're like, well, I'm looking for this or I'm looking for that, or I would be great if I got this. Forget all that. Think of one thing. Be super clear, be super specific, and be super concise with it. One of the things I always talk about is, if you're trying to do a 60-second commercial, you are boring people. People are bored. They're done. Especially if you're doing a weekly meeting. Can you imagine going to a meeting and seeing the same people doing the same commercial every week at the same time, month after month after month? No, stop doing that, okay? 60 seconds is a long time. And it's also exceedingly longer if people aren't paying attention. So what I've taught people for years is to do the ask. The ask is very simple. It's very straightforward. It's your name. It's your business name. It's your business category. My name's Terry Bean with Try Bean Consulting. I do business growth coaching and consulting. Boom. 4.5 seconds later, I'm done with all of that. And then it's the one person or one company or one big idea that if someone in the room could introduce you to, would absolutely make your month. So I'm Terry Bean with Try Bean Consulting. I do business growth consulting and coaching. I'm looking to meet the vice president of sales for a technology company in the Twin Cities area. Why? Because I want to come in and do some training with these people. I want to help them grow, right? Whatever the case may be, tell the story. But you have to make sure that you say it succinctly, because you'll capture their attention. In an ideal world, you'll say it specifically. Like if I would have thought about it for half a second, I would have picked a firm in Minneapolis or St. Paul that you all would know. And if I would have said the name of the company along with the title of a person, and if somebody in the room actually knew them, you would have a visceral response. I would know that you knew them because I'd be able to read it on you. And other people in the room would be able to read it too. The more specific we get, the more likely we are to get what we're looking for. So make sure that your ask is clear, concise, and do your best to make sure it's specific. We let people in Motor City Connect meetings, we give them 15 seconds. If they're not done within 15 seconds, we're all like, let's go Tigers, or something like that, because it's got to be fun. It's got to be enjoyable, but it's got to be straight to the point. It's painful to listen to 40 different introductions that last a minute. Plus, you don't get any time to do any meeting stuff. So make sure you get your ask straight. We can talk a little bit about that in the Zoom later too. I don't have a ton of time to do Zoomy stuff, but I will be in there to say hello and chat for a little bit. Okay. So the other part is, when you're doing that ask, you want to try and make sure that people understand why they should care, right? Maybe not in your ask, but maybe in your second sentence. Talk about why you care. One of the challenges that I see in watching people network, and the reason I wrote a book on networking, is because we all answer what we do with actually what we do. And what's kind of boring? A lot of times, what people do. As much fun as Facebook and Instagram advertising and marketing is, it's not that much fun to listen to. No offense, Janet, love you, but it isn't, right? But if you talk about why you do it, why helping people grow their business, helping people increase their lead flow, increase their opportunity, increase the food on their table, that's fun. And more importantly, it's where passion lives. Your voice changes, your energy changes, your tone changes. So stop answering what you do for a prolonged period of time. You can say, I'm a realtor, I'm a mortgage guy, I'm a banker, I do whatever it is I do, I'm a coach, a consultant. But talk about why, because that is the engaging part. I want to talk about two last things because I know we're close on time already, because these things go super fast, don't they? Networking online is a thing. It's going to be a thing. And oh, good God, did virtual networking become absolutely paramount in 2020. Here's what I will tell you. I've got 3 tips for you. Number 1, get really, really good at being engaged online. One of the first things I do when I join a Zoom room is I drop my LinkedIn profile in the Zoom chat. And as soon as I do that, you know what happens? 37 other people drop their Zoom or their LinkedIn profile. You can use Zoom or LinkedIn. You can use an About Me page, but have a center place where you want to drive people. Don't send them just to the front door of your website. At least drop them in an About Us page or something that's relevant. Don't make them try and figure out what you want them to see. Give them what you want to see. Number 2, when it comes to networking online, figure out how much time you're going to allot to it and try and stick to it. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, good God, TikTok, all of it can suck time out of your day like it's your job. And unless it's actually your job, don't spend too much time on it. And number 3, pick 2 platforms. Not 5, not 7, not 70. Pick 2. Master those, get really good at them, and spend the bulk of that time there. Here's a bonus tip. Spend more time commenting on other people's posts than worrying about writing on your own posts. A well-written comment is going to say as much about you than anything you will conceive. And especially if you're on influencer pages or people that have more contacts than you, you're going to get a lot more visibility than you will on your own page, and that will drive traffic to you. All right, so I gave you bonus. Here's the last tip I want to give you. This is one of my all-time favorites. Practice after you networking. After you networking does a couple of things for you. Number 1, and let me define what it is, right? When you meet someone, a lot of people tell me all the time, I can't remember names. I can't remember names. It's not a memory issue. It's an attention issue. You weren't paying attention when they said their name because you were too busy thinking about what you were going to say to sound smart or sound clever or sound cute or sound whatever you were trying to achieve, right? Instead, you should have just been honoring them by listening to them. So if you let people go first, you're already in the mode of honoring them and letting them go. So you get to listen to them. You get to hear their story. You get to pay attention. If I talk to you for 10 minutes, you'll talk for 8.5. I'll talk for 1.5. You're going to walk away thinking I'm the best conversationalist ever. And it's not because I don't have a lot of cool stuff to say. I can talk for 4 hours. Believe me, I've done it. But if I let you go first, I hear you, I understand you. Now I get to talk to you and relate my information directly to you. Powerful stuff. The next piece of it is when it's my turn to speak, if you don't afford me the same honor, the same luxury, the same audience, I know that I don't have to spend another second worrying about networking with you after that. My name's Terry Bean. You can find me at trybean.com, TRYBEAN.com. Thank you very much for your time and attention today.